Sorry about the dog barking. I'm just waiting for it to kick in on YouTube.
Okay. Okay. Forgive my e-cig.
It says it's live, but it's not kicking on. Oh, there it goes. All right. All right. So, hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. And we got a real exciting part 2 interview with Holly Baglio. Last night we went over a few things. I want to get more in depth, really try to understand even more and get the story out even more and bring more awareness to it as well. So we got Chaz and Toasty and, of course, lovely Holly here. How's everybody doing?
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, cool. All right,
Yeah,
so
great.
everybody.
Hold on. Yeah, I was just about to say Toaster didn't say whether he was great or not, and I was hoping to hear that.
All right, cool. So where you want to start, Holly? I'm gonna just ask questions in between. Let's like explain your story to people who don't know your story, who don't know who you are. You know what I mean? Like you're explaining this for the first time. I know you've done a lot of interviews, but a lot of people might not know who you are. So
Okay.
if you want to give us a background on you real quick, that'd be great.
Well, I am Holly Baglio. I grew up in Far Hills, New Jersey. I went to Raritan Valley Community College for accounting. I worked for AT&T for 7 years, and my dream job, I worked for Pharmacia on executive staff. I was an administrative assistant in both AT&T as well as Pharmacia. But then when my grandmother fell sick to emphysema, I stayed home and took care of her and gave her hospice care at home until she passed away, as that was her dying wish. My grandparents raised me, and I had a wonderful relationship and upbringing with them, as well as my father, Philip Baglio. He was great to me. I had him for 7 wonderful years. As far as like things that I used to like to do, which I guess I still do now, I don't know if that like even says who I am as a person, but I like skiing and longboarding, rollerblading, camping, and martial arts, weapons training, tournament sparring. I really enjoy the fact that I live on a farm, and I like to write, whether it be poetry or put my diary up online. Otherwise, I spend a lot of time with Jesus, and I enjoy my walk with Yahweh, and He allows me to come forward about my past being the super soldier who was farmed out to black ops. So I hope that explains who I am, Rose. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rose.
I just heard you mention weapons training. Now, how did that come about? And are you any good at it? And what kind of weapons?
Knives, nunchucks, bong sul, and then you have the batley. I really enjoy fist-to-fist combat, standing up as well as on the ground combat. But weapons, I liked the knives and nunchucks.
So
and swords the best.
Are you really good at it? Like, did it like
back then? Yes. Right now I'm rusty, but I really enjoyed it. My Grandmaster Quack in Warren, New Jersey, he taught me everything that I knew and anything that I asked him to teach me. But I really enjoyed the weapons training a lot.
But do you think you might have already had those abilities, being a super soldier, that could have been you already had that ability before?
I'll be honest.
No.
Yes, because typically where it takes an average person 3 years to get their black belt in Taekwondo or any other martial arts, I took Taekwondo and weapons training for 6 months, and I was already fighting black belts and doing weapons training with the black belt class within 6 months of starting Taekwondo with my grandmaster Kwok. And so, yeah, given that it only took me 6 months to succeed that fast, and in 6 months, I only got 3/4 of the way to my black belt. So, had I gone for 9 months, I would have had a black belt. But in 6 months, I was training with the black belts and fighting against them with weapons and, landing kicks on each other's heads. And I think that was because, like you said, Rose, I had prior training because I took to it like a duck in water. My grandmaster asked me to move down to Florida to train me in martial arts full time. And when I went home to talk to grandma about it, I told her I didn't want to move to Florida without her. And she didn't want to move to Florida. She was stuck here in um, Far Hills, New Jersey, and I was attached to her. So I told my grandmaster Quack I couldn't go. But yeah, I think it's from previous training from the DUMS.
Yeah, that's quick to pick up on that within 6 months. Wow, very quick. I've took Taekwondo and it's not that it's a lot of technique there.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah,
loved it. Sorry.
yeah. All right, so then weapons trainings, and then you mentioned Black Ops. What do you remember? Any kind of Black Op type training you might have done?
Well, for me, Black Ops, I was in the DUMS, and this is going to sound fantastical, but I believe that I worked with Stargates or Seagates. I was always
Yes.
sitting in front of big doors that we'd have to go through. Um, but then there are times that I remember jumping out of an airplane into another country on a mission or assignment, and then having to stay there and wait for my team from Black Ops to come pick me back up. I remember, well, I believe I have 2 to 3 recalls of that happening where Black Ops would come and pick me up after an assignment and bring me back home. But
Oh
that
wow.
was in another country, and it had to do with um, politicians being on an airplane and making the airplane crash.
Oh, so like maybe an assassination on an assassination attempt or a murder
I'm not
type
I'm not
setup.
quite sure, but yeah, I just remember politicians on a plane and then assisting to help the plane crash. Like while it was in flight, I would
Right.
help to make the plane crash. And then after the plane crashed, I would be the only one that survived, and I would stay by the wreckage. And uh, on one occasion, I was waiting for my team to come back and pick me up.
So presidents meaning the people that are in control of the country, or presidents of like maybe a company.
I'm sorry, politicians. Um,
Politicians.
politicians. Yeah, like if when our president goes to another country and you see our president lined up with their president and all those their politicians, and they're, some of them have um, headwear that may come from the Middle East, and some men may be dressed in a typical business suit. Um, those type of politicians. I
Have you tried to verify that if a plane had went down in across country, and try to verify if there was actually an accident that happened?
well, in a manner of speaking, yes, I try to reach out to certain soldiers that I remember being with, and um, so far, no one's giving me conclusive answers.
Well, I mean, like verifying that a plane actually went down, and
Um, I'll be honest, at that time when it happened, I was so delusioned between prescription medications, pain pills, sleeping pills, anxiety pills. I was so wrapped up in that. And I was believing doctors who take spirituality out of everything and just leave the physical and mental and then give you a prescription. So I was disillusioned with everything. And I thought that was all in my head or just a nightmare, because I was listening to what else everybody said, or I was listening to what everybody else had to say. But looking back on it, um, I have been trying to reach out and ask people. So David Marrow has helped me confirm some of my Black Ops missions, I believe, and I'm really grateful to David Marrow. But I recall him. Definitely, I recall David Marrow. And I even have a picture of an experience that I believe I had with David Marrow. But I believe I have a second recall with David Marrow where we were boarding an aircraft. There were two teams of us, and this was Black Ops. And
do you remember where it was at? Was it in the United States or Europe, Asia? You don't remember?
I don't remember anything. I'll be honest. I'm still hoping to recall all of that, but I really don't remember. Um, the
But you
next
do
thing I
remember.
want to say is, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, after that, forgive me, Rose. The next thing I want to say is going to sound fantastical, but I believe I was on Mars. Whether we were in a room tripping on LSD, a bunch of us having a good time, or whether this really happened and we were on Mars, I don't want to debate all of that, but I just want to talk about the memory, the recalled memory, as I believe I recall it, is we were on Mars. There were two teams of us, David Marrow and I. I think we were on opposite teams, but we were still working together. And we were walking around the surface looking for entrances into the big mountains. As odd as this sounds, I thought that I recalled listening or putting my ear up to the rocks to listen for dolphins or the sonar of dolphins echoing. There are entrances to go into the big mountains on Mars, and there's water on Mars. But the memory or recalled memory I believe I have, um, that was in my 20s. But I also have a memory of when I was a little girl. And I don't know how I got up there as a little child, but I was about 5 or 6 years old, and there were other kids up there, and there's water up on Mars as well.
So that's interesting because I know a guy. His name is Andrew Bouchard, and he was talking about as a child. His father worked for military complex organization, and he said he was the first child to be sent to Mars, and that it was easier to send children. And it was basically just like an elevator. They went into an elevator, and when the doors opened, they were on Mars. Now, not just standing on the planet, but in an office building on Mars, and that they can that he actually walked out the office building and was interacting with people. I mean, it was mostly all underground though, not on the surface. It was underground. Um, so that's interesting. You said you went there as a child too, and also Obama took the time to address that because he was making claims that Obama, as a child, was being trained on Mars. And Obama made a comment and said, "I've never been to Mars," by the way. And why would he even comment on that if it wasn't true? Why even say anything? But by him saying that, I found that interesting. 1 second, please.
Sure. I don't know if Obama's been on on Mars, but I believe I have a recalled memory of Barry Obama. Um, it's a fragmented memory, but I was standing next to my commander in another country, and we were in another country, and I believe we were in army outfits with weapons in our hands, and I looked across the way and I saw Barry Obama, and I looked back at my commander and I told him, I'm like, I don't like him. And my commander just looked over and didn't say a word. But I believe that was Barry Obama I saw, and now he's our president, and I still don't like him.
Yeah. Well, there is other people that claim that he was on Mars and he was getting training and that he knew he was going to be president as a child. He knew.
Yeah, I don't like him. I'm sorry. Just, I don't like him. He was sent here to destroy America, destroy the Constitution. He's not here to do anything for anybody. Uh, I'll just, he's not here for anything good. He's got nothing to
Yeah.
offer us. He should not be president. And why have we, the people, allowed him to be president this long? It's atrocious. When people see Barry Obama, their wonderful president, and some of the people I no longer speak to love Barry Obama, voted for him, and still continue to praise him. And where was I going? It's Barry Obama. I completely drew a blank.
That's okay.
Oh, no. If it comes back to me, may I tell you?
Yeah,
Forgive
please,
me.
yeah, please do.
Okay, forgive me.
Well, he's almost out of there come November, unless we get martial law with what's going on with Russia and stuff like that. Who knows? Hopefully he leaves, though. He sure does want a third term. He keeps talking about if he could do a third term, if he could do a third term.
Well,
And Hillary would be his third term.
and she's falling apart
You
at
know.
the seams. And oh, yeah, but Barry, every time we see Barry give a speech, it's a clone. Like, he looks different. He's not the same. It's a clone. Um, That's
Yeah,
and our president does. I'm sorry. Go on.
I've actually verified that he was a hologram when he did the one meeting in the Oval Office. Usually, the president sits behind the desk in the Oval Office and gives his speech. Instead, he had a podium he was standing in front of in the Oval Office, which no president has ever done. I couldn't find any. If anyone can, great. And so then my friend did a program on the video feed, the original feed though that was shown on the news. Did a program on it, and it showed it was a hologram. It wasn't even him. So why? And Hillary does that too. I mean, there's proof of her in her campaign. People are holding up their phones and filming her walking on stage. But when you look on their phone in the audience, you zoom in, she's not there on the phone.
Yep.
So she was using holograms for some of her speeches as well. So
Wow.
yeah. And then I also have proof that Hillary used a clone on the anniversary of 9/11, and that person came out after she had fainted. She came out of Chelsea's apartment, and there was no Secret Service around her. And the Secret Service will not go around a clone at that. That's why she walked out by herself and walked away by herself with no Secret Service around her, because they don't want to be implemented if it ever comes out that that was a clone.
Wow.
So,
Here we go.
so you're
Strap
not,
on your seatbelts.
yeah. So you're not talking about stuff that isn't, you know, people are becoming aware of. So that's good.
I really hope so.
Yeah.
I really hope so.
So do you remember seeing any kind of beings on Mars, or anything like you can describe what you saw?
I remember seeing beings, but I'll be honest, I can't describe them. Still hoping one day I will be able to. They just look like blobs to me right now.
Okay. Do you remember anything about the atmosphere, about the living situations, or anything?
Uh, well, being outside where there's water, uh, the sky looked dark, like purplish to me.
Mm.
Uh, maybe bluish or so, but the rocks were dark red, and some were shardy and some were big, but the mountains were so much huger that or bigger than here on Earth. Um, but I just remember talking to an entity, like a physical being entity, uh, and it looked like a blob to me, and it was kind of bluish and green and purple. There was a yellow pail next to us on a rock, and then it asked me if I wanted to stay, and I said no, I miss my grandma, so I want to go home. And it said okay, and we began to get up, walk off the rock, past the water, back into um, the big mountains, because inside the big mountains are installations. Like you can get inside of them, and that's where everything is. Like everyone's home,
Right.
or I guess where everything.
Right. A lot of people in chat are saying really nice things about you. Um,
Yeah. Oh boy, I love you. To Rose's chat. Thank you for being so kind. I can't see it right now, but thank you, thank you, thank you. That's great. Thank you.
they said they're happy to hear you broke free, and they loved the last interview with you. Um, and they bookmarked the last interview. They're gonna watch that too. Um,
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That makes me feel really good about myself. Thank you.
and they're talking about Mars. Who proved there was no water on Mars? Yeah, I don't. No one's proved there's no water on Mars.
There is no water on Mars. I think there's dolphins on Mars too, because we were searching for them. So I
Wow.
think it might be like a hybrid person, I'm not sure, or another type of being, but there's dolphins on Mars. We were searching for dolphins on Mars. That's why I was up there. Um, Something to do with their sonar. I know it's fantastical and crazy as that sounds.
So how much water would you think you saw? Like as big as the Pacific Ocean? Lakes? Like, what would you?
A lake. What I saw was a lake.
Okay. Yeah, dolphins are very spiritual beings. There's actually a law here in the United States. I'm not sure anywhere else, but you're not allowed to touch a dolphin without signing a government waiver form saying that they give you permission to even touch a dolphin. It's illegal, in other words, unless you have permission. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I so much want to go swimming with dolphins, I'll be honest. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Beautiful. Let's see. They swim in the ocean, somebody said. Well, yeah, but she's talking about Mars. Yeah, yes, dolphins are spiritual beings, and touching them is very restricted in the United States. Yeah, that's right. They say they love you, and you're the truth. So that's from Rand. So that's good.
Thank you.
Very nice. So let's get into okay, your childhood in school last night. Um, you want to get more what your memories of the underground, um, the things you might have done in there, and who you might have saw. You want to get into that? The
Sure,
underground?
absolutely. Definitely.
Let's get into that. What's your first memories of the underground of seeing?
Uh, well, I might be repeating things. Like I can tell you what Project Ibis was because I remember a little bit more of that.
Okay.
Um,
What was the Project Ibis?
well, I also remember, well, okay, we'll get there, I hope. Project Ibis was up in Nelson, Canada. Um, that was when they trained everybody, but I don't know if you want to hear about the brutality or
Well,
maybe
yeah. Tell us the truth. What did you see? I mean, now were you in Canada at the time, or were you being brought there um,
I,
spiritually, or like astral travel, or physically, or?
I was brought there physically, so I was in Nelson, Canada physically. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so a bunch of us kids were brought there, and I remember we were wrapped in blankets and we were lined up outside, but we started to walk into the right to another room, and I felt tripped out of my mind, like a really bad acid trip. And I must have been about 5 years old or 6 years old or seven. It's 5 or 6. There were other kids about my age wrapped up in blankets, and we were huddled together. And I remember seeing these colors hanging, and we had to play a color game. And the adults told us to pick a color. So I believe my commander picked blue, another kid picked green, and I was going to pick pink and purple, or I was going to pick purple, the purple color, because my grandmother always had her bathroom dressed in pink and purple curtains and tiles, everything was pink and purple. But when I went up to grab the color purple, it had like a smudge on it. So I ended up going for yellow. And there was another child that ended up grabbing the purple color. So all of a sudden, when we were done picking colors, the adults called out, the lights were turned on. The adults called out the purple color, and one adult came over and picked up the kid and walked it over and dropped it in front of a wolf inside of a cage. And I believe it was ripped apart. And the next thing I remember, I think my eyes were closed, because the next thing I remember, I believe us kids were grabbed up and then strapped down again. Whether it was a bed or a seat, I'm not sure, but we were strapped down and my eyes were closed. So I don't remember after that. But also in Nelson, Canada, I remember being above ground at this government base or military base, and the hangar doors were open, and it gets really cold outside. And we were just little kids, and there were rows of cots, and I looked across the way and I saw my Commander Casbolt, and I ran over to him and I slept next to him to keep warm. We must have been like, well, I think I was like 5 years old. So
How old
it
would
was so cold.
how old would James Casbolt be at the time if you were 5?
4 or 3, I think. I think I was like a couple years older than him. I'm not quite sure.
Wow.
But I remember him before all of that programming got started, and before I served at his command. I remember us as kids.
I
So,
want I want to get in more into that, but I have 2 good questions from
yeah,
Rocco in the chat room, if you don't mind. Is that before we move on to
go right ahead.
deeper?
Hi, Rocco.
He wants to know: did you ever find the dolphins on Mars? Did you find them?
I believe so, because here I am safely back on Earth. I think their sonar is how we got back. But
Oh,
I might be corrected, or I might stand corrected. I'm not sure, but I think that's why we were looking for them.
oh. So you think that you can travel on their sonar?
Well, I thought that's, how you heal and how you get home, and
Oh, wow.
I thought I could be wrong. I don't know. Forgive me, but that's my
No, it's
answer.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. And then somebody, we are free, said her being on Mars could be part of the mind control ideas. So maybe programmed into her at that time. Do you think that mind control program that was put into you?
Yes, there's the other part of me that does feel that it could be mind control, and that we were not on Mars and we were in a room being mind controlled and things were happening. So,
Do you think it could be a false memory?
well, I go back and forth between things because I don't have any certain confirmation, but I do definitely ask questions and search my soul. So if if God forbid I find out that I was in a room tripping on acid and not really on Mars, then I will come back and apologize. I'm not trying to lie to
Right.
anybody, but yeah, I'm trying to figure my way through all of that.
Right. Just like in the movie Manchurian Candidate, the guys in the squad, the military squad, thought they were in a war. People died, and their commander saved their lives. And come to find out, in the movie, they were just in a room on drugs, being programmed. was even in a war. Right.
And if that happened, I'm not trying to mislead anyone, but I mean, it's stuff like that that happens. I mean,
Yeah. Right. It does happen. That's why I'm bringing that up. And they put a lot of truth in movies. We know that. So,
yes, they do. They
yeah.
do.
So then that way, when people explain their experiences, like you are, I go automatically to a movie and go, well, I seen that in a movie. But see, I know it's true though, but see how the people associate, and then uh, they could dismiss what you just said as, oh, well, that's in a movie. You know, that's not true. It's not real, or so forth. Okay. So, okay, let's go back to, okay, so you remember being outside a bunker in Canada with James Cobalt. It was cold and you fell asleep. Now, that was your first memories of training in the underground then?
Um, well, when I was 3 years old, when we first talked last night, those were my very first memories. So what I'm telling you now is probably the second deep underground military base I've been to, or well, Nelson, Canada. Um,
Okay.
the first one, I believe, when I was living in San Antonio, Texas, where my grandparents had to come fly down and get me from. That was the first time, and we discussed that last night. But up in Nelson, Canada, that was when that was, um, when I saw the first children, torn alive by a wolf and stuff. So it was different. There were Skinner boxes, I believe. Um, and I also remember playpens with us kids being in them. But
Do you remember who the programmer was at the time? Like the adults that were in charge of these children?
I remember one woman, but I don't quite know who she is. I've been searching to find out who she is, this one woman. I guess people have called her mother. I'm not quite sure. Um, there was always like uh, two or three adults, but not many. Um, it's hard to remember. It's still scattered. Forgive me.
I know it must not. I know this
I'm
must be
sorry.
difficult. No, I know this must be really difficult, and I really appreciate you, doing this interview. And I know
Um,
a lot of these memories might not even be good memories, so I understand. And if you don't remember, you don't remember. I don't want you to make something up. So just stay with the truth and the memories of your memories, and that's fine. So there was just a
okay.
couple adults, but no one in particular.
I can't. I can't. I'll be honest. I can't remember the adults. Once I once I'm like into my later teenage years, then I remember George Bush Sr. and Barry Obama. Um, I also have a second memory of Joseph Mengele way, way after that, as we discussed last night. But
Right.
as a little kid, no, it's honestly really hard. Even when they took us kids to that monastery, I'll be honest, I can't. I see the adults standing over us. I see there's a bunch of them or a couple of them, whichever the event, but I just can't see their face. So I don't know if it's a woman or a man. I just,
That's fine. Do you remember any abuse that happened to you and the other children that are in these playpens in this underground base? Was there abuse happening? Like, or were you guys just left in the pens most of the time? Or do you understand, like, what was the purpose of having these
Um,
children in the
well, I remember being in playpens with other kids, but we were babies. We were playing with toys. I remember being in a classroom setting as well, being taught by the same adults uh, that were there watching over us in the playpens. Um,
So you said your grandma raised you as a child, right?
yes, she
Did,
did.
did did she have any memories of you missing?
No, not at
No.
all. No.
Hmm.
And she would have been the first to know, but no, she didn't.
Now I did hear that they do have the capability to say, come in your room, take you out of your room, say you're doing homework or whatever, take you out of your room, take you on a mission for 2 days, 24 hours, whatever, bring you back to your room, and you only lose 3 minutes.
Yes, I've heard that too. I do remember
It
people
puts
coming into my room as a little kid under the age of 10, all the way up until I was in my late 20s. I remember people coming into my home and taking me out.
without your grandparents' knowledge.
Yes,
And
yes, nobody
then
knew.
nobody. Wow. Okay, it's interesting. Because I did hear that the government has this capability.
Yes.
Okay. So, do you remember any other details about the underground as a small child besides just being in playpens and classrooms?
Um, I have a recalled memory of, well, I have still a little bit scattered memories, but not as a child. As a teenager, I believe I remember walking behind, well, George Bush Sr. and Commander Casbolt and myself, and having our foreheads scanned as we were walking inside a dome. And when I looked to my right, I remembered seeing classrooms filled with younger kids,
Mm.
and I was following George Bush Sr., who my commander was behind down this hallway. And then we sat at a table and talked,
Do you remember what you
and
talked?
vaguely, but when George Bush Sr. got up and left, I looked at my commander and I said, I don't like him. And Commander Casbolt said, Holly, you're not always going to like all your bosses. And that was all I remember.
Or you don't remember the George Bush actually speaking or saying anything to you at all?
I don't remember what he said to me. I
Okay.
remember conversing, but I don't remember what we said. Like, in my recalled memories, I'll remember talking to someone, but I don't remember all their words, or I'll remember a couple of them, but it's not clear fully to me just yet.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Now you also said you remember Obama as a teenager too, right?
Yeah,
And do you remember any conversation with him or overhearing him talking about anything? And where
no,
was that at? That was on Mars, right?
no, no. Actually, when I saw Barry Obama, I was with my commander in on another continent, on the Earth, but in another country, on another continent other than the U.S. And I saw Barry Obama off in a distance, and I said, I don't like him.
He didn't like a lot
And
of them.
well, forgive me. My grandmother was great at being able to call a kettle black, and well, I just didn't like George Bush Sr. and Barry Obama. They're black kettles. So
Right.
forgive me, but that's the truth.
It is what it is. Yes. Do you
Yeah.
know if you could recall his age? What age would you say he was, Obama?
He's got to be about the same age I am. I'm 42. Maybe he's 10 years older than me, but I can't imagine him being any more than that. I mean, I don't know. I'm 42. And if Commander's 39, he's got to be about the same age as us. He's got to be
Oh,
like between 39 and 42, right? I would imagine.
at the
He
time,
looked like,
at the
oh,
time or
oh,
now?
well, no, well, at the time, when I'm sorry, I thought you meant like now. I thought you meant how old Barry Obama would be.
Well,
No, I think we're the same age.
he's older than 42. Yeah, he's in his 50s, right?
Really? Okay.
Yeah, let me check because I like to make sure I get the right information
All
up
right.
there.
So I would just, at the time I saw him, I would have, when I saw him from the dumps alongside of my commander, I would have guessed his age the same as mine at the
Yeah.
time.
Okay, he's 55.
Okay. So that's what I mean about him
Close.
being my age now.
Yeah,
So
close to.
I thought he was my age.
Okay. All right. What was he doing? Do you recall what he was doing?
Well, he had a weapon in his hand and he was in army fatigues. Um, he was not doing the same thing. He wasn't on the same assignment I was. He was with someone else. I'm not quite sure what they were doing.
Oh, wow. Well, I heard that, he's CIA training, he's had CIA training, so would surprise
Yes.
me.
It wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah. Let's see. So somebody's asking, do you think Obama is a super soldier?
Yes, I do. He is active as well with clones. He is not our friend.
Well, thank you, Richard. He said Obama is 55 and was born in 1961. Thank you, Richard. So you think he is still a super soldier and active at now?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
And his wife is actually a man posing as our first lady, and their poor children are SRA victims that
SRA?
are, yeah, I believe Barry Obama's children are SRA victims. They're not his kids. I mean, well, our first lady is not a real first lady. So with that and Barry Obama, you can't really have kids. So therefore, the children that they do have in the White House are SRA victims, bought and
You
paid
want to
for by
explain?
our tax dollars.
You want to explain to people what SRA is?
Yes, satanically ritualized and abused. They are kids that are sold, like myself, are sold into slavery, or they're sold into slavery. They're programmed by these MK Ultra projects. And then you have some rich politician that comes along and buys up these kids because they're easily programmable. And voila, now you have a fixed made family posing in the White House. And there starts the beginning of your deception. So these kids have been exposed to satanic rituals. They've seen other kids murdered in front of them. They've been ritualized, which they've seen humans summon evil spirits and then try to put these evil spirits into them. Kids are innocent. And because kids are innocent, they can see the supernatural world, the astral world, whatever label you want to put on it, our kids can see that. And that's why children are chosen for all of these rituals and sacrifices. They're very sensitive and very intuitive, And when you can get them that young and take their abilities of what they see in the supernatural world, and kids are very aware. You can't say, oh, that kid's 3 years old. It doesn't know what I'm talking about. It's stupid. They know more than you do. They're innocent. They are connected. They understand their dreams. But as you get older, this world indoctrinates you. This world builds up tolerance. So it corrupts all of that. But if you take a little child and put them into these programs, oh boy, the twisting that happens is atrocious. And basically, you're taking this child's spiritual gifts and warping it into your evil intentions. And instead of allowing them to see Jesus Christ of Nazareth, you are now tuning them into seeing aliens, interdimensional beings, and this and that, and dead people, and this spirit guide and that spirit guide, and it's all the wrong stuff. So I got on a tangent. I'm sorry, Rose.
Oh, no, no, that was great. Thank you so much for explaining that. And I also want to point out that Joan Rivers mentioned that Obama's wife was Michael, and that the guy from TMZ said, well, when do you think we'll have our first gay president? And she goes, oh, stop it. We already do. And he was like, what do you mean? And she goes, oh, come on. Everybody knows that Michelle Obama is transgender. And then she said, everyone already knows, and she does it well. She rock. She pulls it off. She fooled a lot of people. She doesn't fool me, but she fools a lot of people.
Right.
That's
I can't believe that real, true, natural women are not that Barry likes to call Michelle is actually a man. I can't believe they're not appalled that they have a man as a first lady. This is
right.
atrocious. And we, the
And the
people,
first
just go, okay, it's great. We'll be politically correct.
first black lady president is a man.
And now we have
Wow.
a guy coming forward to be our first man model for CoverGirl. It's disgusting. Why are the lines blurred? I want my ladies' room with no men in it. I want my makeup with no men wearing it. And I want my first lady to be a real woman born that way.
Well, that's why they like to do rituals at music awards and stuff. And if you recall, Miley Cyrus did that dance Blurry Lines with that Robin Thicke guy.
Yes.
And that's the whole purpose of that song, was to blur the lines.
Yes.
That was a ritual they performed. It was disgusting too. But yeah, so and Obama slips and calls him Michael.
Yep.
Me and Michael, I have it on tape. So many times he said Michael.
Yes.
I just wouldn't make that mistake.
Me neither. I mean,
he's
president. It's but
now
women stand for this first lady. I mean, this first lady, Michael, goes on talk shows, and real women accept her as a first lady.
Right. Mind blowing. Mind blowing. Yeah.
Yeah, let's make that a role model for this country. Okay, like the presidents have become a reality show. It's
now,
not.
Do you recall Michelle, quote unquote Michael, in any of your Black Ops or any of your underground, or do you recall like how you saw Obama? Do you recall him?
I'll be honest. No, I don't.
Okay. Now, his kids do resemble them. I mean, just because she didn't have any kids, obviously, because it's a male. And a lot of people are already awake to that, so it's not a big surprise here, people. But it is a man. So obviously she didn't have children. But that doesn't mean they didn't take both their genetics and quote unquote grow this child. We have proof of test tube babies We have proof there's cloning. That's all over the Time magazines. You can go back last, 15 years, 20 years, and they're saying we're cloning. We're going to do cloning. Cloning's not too far away. So it's obvious they're able to clone. So maybe they clone their children. What do you think with their
I
genetics?
honestly didn't think of that, but if they clone their kids, that's horrifying. That's
Yeah. Chaz, do you want to jump in? Do you have anything you want to ask?
No. I was just doing something. Don't mind me.
Okay. Thanks for coming back in, Toasty. I saw you left. Hope your internet's better now.
No, it's terrible, man. It's really bad, but I'm just having some biscuits, so I'm alright.
Cool.
What biscuits are you having there, Toaster?
Fox's Golden Crunch Creams.
A very good selection in biscuits, sir. I admire your choice.
Thank you, thank you for the accolade, sir.
You gotta love these guys. Okay. Let me check the chat room, see if there's any more questions before we move on. Let's see.
You better send me a biscuit, Chaz and Toasty, because if not, I have a bone to pick with you tomorrow morning.
We got Richard.
Toasty's the one with the biscuits.
Richard is saying, yes, Obama has lit and has referred to Michelle as Michael on a number of occasions. That's right, Richard. A lot of times. It wasn't just once or twice. I'm thinking he even did it on Bear Giles, Running Wild. He had Obama on there.
Bear Grylls.
Bear Grylls. Yeah, whatever.
Grills.
Grills.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Imagine his name is saying that a large caniform that's usually referred to as a grizzly is barbecuing. That bear there grills. Bear Grylls.
Bear Grylls. Gotcha.
So imagine if a grizzly caught Bear Grylls and cooked him over a barbecue. A Bear Grylls. Bear Grylls.
There's a fucking there's a catering trailer on my fucking local market called Bear's Grill.
So he was on the show, and they're walking to go have their food, and Obama said, "Michael." In the TV show, he said, "Michael." He said, he slipped, and I went. Oh. He said Michael, and then he said Michelle. Like he had to force his mouth to say Michelle. He's not used to it or something. But if you guys want to go look at that Running Wild with Bear Grylls, Obama says Michael in that as well. I also posted that on my Google Plus, but that was a while ago, so it'd probably be hard to find it. You should be able to find it, I think, if you look on YouTube. All right. So somebody has a really good question. Galen wants to know, ask Holly. Yeah, Galen. Ask Holly on how she is sure she has implants.
Oh, yeah, I do. I have one here and one back here.
How are you sure you have them?
Am I sure I have them?
How are you sure that you have them?
Oh, I'm not sure that I have them. I just recall getting them.
Oh, you do? You want to talk about how you remember that?
Well, the one that I got here was from, I just remember all of a sudden this thing being put in my brain and thinking, oh my gosh, they can put something in my brain. And I remember getting it after getting the implant. I remember they could scan me on my forehead. But in my 20s, I believe that I was taken out of my home and then thrown in the trunk of a car. And this is going to sound weird, but I thought it was little gray aliens. that grabbed me out, and I was struggling with them, and they put a second implant up into the bottom right of my skull. A couple days later, or for a couple days after that event, my neck and head felt really sore, but I'm not sure that little gray aliens gave that to me. Because at that point I was on Black Ops, so people were coming into my home and taking me out. So I can't be sure it was little gray aliens that gave me the one in the back of my head. But the one in the front of my head, I believe, it was given to me by something that's not human. But it'd be nice to find out if that's true or not. I got to speak with someone very recently that was able to tell me that I do in fact have one in the front of my skull, but that's because I'm being monitored.
Do you like suffer from any kind of headaches or migraines or anything that can indicate that you might have implants? And also, have you ever gotten an MRI?
Yes, I've gotten MRIs, but they always said, oh, it's just a migraine, it's just a migraine. And I don't have those MRIs still today, but they never showed anything abnormal. But I've suffered from migraines since I was in fourth or fifth grade. I would lay down on the school bus seats until the school bus would take me from the school all the way home. And then I'd get out, and my grandmother would basically meet me at the end of the driveway and carry me inside. I always had bad migraines. Even when I began high school at Ridge High, the first couple of days of high school I missed because I was hospitalized for migraines. At first, they thought it was spinal meningitis, but my migraines get so bad I can't move. I can't see light. I can't hear noise, and I can't move because my body gets really stiff and I start vomiting. So it's miserableness. But yeah, I suffer still to this day from migraines.
Wow. Yeah, also a lot of people I've heard that say they have implants. There's this one doctor, he actually removes them. And when he removed it, it turned into an organic, I don't know, it turned organic. It wasn't like it was a metal implant, it was more organic. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yes, I do understand.
So it wouldn't be able to be seen.
Yep.
That's interesting. Um,
I believe they have technology that is vastly beyond us. So at
oh,
least
the
like
buffering.
the
They're
entities
saying we
or
have to oh, people are saying we have to reboot or something. Hold on 1 second.
okay.
No, it's saying that Holly needs to reboot.
I'm still here.
Holly. Yeah, they're trying to say you're lagging or something. I'm not sure. I'm checking right now. They'll put it. Buffering bad. Holly needs to reboot. Have Holly reboot Rose. Uh, I don't know. Is it better now? People in the chat, if someone can tell me, is it working okay now for her? Go ahead, Holly. You want to talk and see if it's working better now?
Hi. Is it working any better? I'm sorry. Hello, hello. Check, check, 1, 2.
You sound fine this end.
Yeah, sound fine over here. Well, hopefully this is gonna work out.
There could have
Okay.
just been a temporary lag spike on the stream at that point.
I think so, because we were at 15 viewers and it jumped down to 3, just like that. And then now it went to 8. So I'm like, okay, that was weird. Now it's at 9. So maybe it was something like that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. Hi, Toaster and Holly. And again, hello, Rose. Hi, Karen. Who was Toaster? If you want to know who's Toaster. Rand Manshell, Michael, has the brow ridge of a silverback. Oh my God. Ask Holly if she remembers the video she did with and director of her implants. With EMF director of her implants. Do you know what he's talking about, Holly?
With the metal detector.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I'm not going to do it right now if you don't mind, Rose, but I'll explain it. I have this detector. I actually had it out today. It's called electromagnetic radiation detector. So I took this thing and I was scanning it over my forehead. And every time I hit this spot, it would start beeping, like the red thing would go off. And I was using this to try to locate to see if I had implants and to see what it would do. But every time I hit this spot on my head, the radiation detector goes off.
Wow. So you've actually did that interview and shown that.
On YouTube, but I'm feeling a little self-conscious to do it right now. But well, I guess I could. I have it right here if you want me to, but
Let me see. Okay,
oh boy.
Well, I mean, if you want to do it, go ahead. If you feel uncomfortable, then don't.
Okay,
You
well,
don't
I might have to put batteries in it. Oh wait, they're in it, but
it's up to you, Holly. If you don't feel
okay.
comfortable.
Well, actually, the batteries are dead, so I can't turn it on. Otherwise, I would, but it's pretty embarrassing. But yes, I've used this thing to go over my body to see if I had implants because I heard of other people using the same thing, and it
And
goes.
what exactly is that machine? Can you hold it up a little bit longer so people can see?
Yes.
DT1130 electromagnetic radiation detector. Okay.
So yes.
Wow.
But I can't do it. It's probably better.
Okay, that's fine. Well, we
Sorry,
see you have
forgive me.
well, you have one, and I don't have one. So obviously you needed it for a reason. So yeah.
Yeah.
We have a question upload test. Does Holly have any alien Mars related items in her home? Did you ever bring anything back from any of these missions?
I don't believe so. To
Not
be
that you're aware
honest, not that I'm aware of. No. I mean, I've drawn my experience, but other than that, I don't believe I've ever brought anything home.
No. Now
I wish.
Okay. Now there was this question by Rocco. How do we know you're not making this up though? Like, do you have any kind of proof that you are a super soldier? Like, what is your proof? Like, do you have bruises, markings? Did you have is there anything that's like solid that you have that's tangible proof?
At this point, no. I only have the testimony of, well, at least one other super soldier that I know right now that recalls me. Otherwise, no, I don't have any tangible proof besides my testimony in Jesus' name.
That's okay with me. I'm just asking for other
Okay,
people.
yeah, no, I hope you don't mind. I
Yeah.
apologize.
We're just wondering, you know.
I wish I had more proof, trust me. I would love to get my file from the NSA, but it will take me at least 10 years to get that and a lot of money that I don't have. But if I could, I
Oh,
would supply that right now.
how much are they charging to get your file?
Um, all I know is that I watched a video by Randy Kramer that said you had to, go through a bunch of processes and steps, but you would have to write to like National Archives 1 and 2 to see if they had your files. But it's like National Archives 1, 2, and then 30 more places. And when they all write back and say, no, we have nothing on you, then you can approach the NSA for your file. However, you must have a congressman or a senator sign a release form to say, sign a release form to even approach the NSA to get your file. But there's only 3 lawyers in the United States of America that will that will deal with the NSA, because ultimately no one wants the NSA looking at them. So it would be a lot of legwork on my part. I would have to hire a very expensive attorney, and there's only 3 in the United States that would even help someone like me to approach the NSA, plus to get a congressperson and all that legwork.
Right. And also, I just want to put this out there. A lot of, this is a need to know basis. These are black ops. Not, I mean, maybe even your congressman wouldn't even know anything about this. I mean, that's even a possibility as well.
And he may not even sign for me. And at this
Or,
point, given how our politicians run, I probably wouldn't find anyone honest enough to even want to help me out in this category.
right. Unfortunately. Times are changing though, Holly.
Yes,
So,
I hope so.
oh, they are. People are waking up. People are realizing that these things are happening, A lot of our money is just disappearing and going into these black op programs, and we're paying for this kind of, super soldiers are super victims. They're, the things that you have to go through is unbearable, and just just amazing that you're even here and able to smile, and have Jesus with you right now is amazing.
Thank you.
Absolutely, testimony. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, so with this now, like, is there anything you wanted to bring up that maybe I didn't?
I think I'm okay for now.
Okay.
I didn't mean to get on a rant with politicians before. I apologize.
No,
Do you know what?
it's
I
just
must admit, I'm a big fan of nunchucks. I've done martial arts for many years, and I was wondering if you still owned any nunchucks at all.
Yes, I do. I own my real set as well as my practice set.
Can I see them?
Yes. Right. Well, I would have to dig them out of my closet. It would take me a while, like 5 minutes. Do you really want me to get them right now?
If you could, I'd love to see a demonstration with them.
Oh, wait, I can't give a demonstration.
Well, at least just to see them, that'd be quite cool.
Okay. All right. Oh, hang on a second. Converse amongst yourselves. Give me a few moments, please.
Okay.
okay. Well, since Holly stepped away for a second, We're gonna take a little break, people. Chaz, if you have anything you want to talk about with Toasty or anything for a couple minutes, I just need 2 minutes. Sorry, my apologies.
Not a problem. Basically, you want me to stop there being any dead air and just talk in general, just make sounds.
That'd be great. You could tell us about
Toaster,
your. Yeah, whatever. Thank you.
are you there, Toasty?
No,
No, right. Toasty isn't there. It's just me then. You busy stuffing your face with biscuits? Is that why you're not there?
no, I've done with biscuits now, mate. Done for the day.
Done for the day, or just eating all the biscuits that you had?
Oh no! It's 2:33 in the morning. I won't say I'm done for the day because I'm only 2 hours into the day. I'll say I'm done for the evening.
So you finished all
I
the
might
biscuits
wake
you
up
currently
tomorrow
have?
morning. No, well, yeah, I have finished. No. I have actually got biscuits still that I could eat. I've got the option to eat biscuits, but I'm now
But have you eaten
exercising
all of the fox?
self-control.
Have you eaten all the fox biscuits?
I have.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
yeah,
what
but
I
there
meant.
was only half a pack. Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't saying that you've sat and eaten a whole packet by yourself like a greedy piggy, but I mean, you know.
Well, I
All
did
I'm
eat
saying
the.
is,
I did eat. No, let's have it right. I did eat the entire packet, but I didn't
oh,
eat it
Holly's
all at
back. Have you
once.
got your nunchucks there, Holly?
Yes.
Right, which one are your practice pair? Those ones
Okay.
foam covered, yeah?
These are my practice pair. Yes, they're foam covered. Well, you can tell.
Yeah. I've got a pair a bit like that. They've got yellow ends though.
Okay. So these are my real ones.
What are they made of wood?
Yes.
Yeah. See, I've got a set that rather than the chain has the rings. Do you have any of the 3-section nunchucks? Like the
No.
3-section staffs? I've got a couple of pairs of them. They're quite cool.
Yeah. I like these. Well, that's how I learned. But
You
these
should
hurt
try. You
when you
should
get
try
hit with
using the
them.
3-section staff. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen, like, trying to think of some films where you really see them. Have you ever seen the film Shanghai Noon?
Yes.
You know, at the end when Jackie Chan is fighting some of the other Chinese guards that are in America in a church, and then it turns into a Mexican standoff with the bad guy.
I'm gonna
Well,
have to watch it again.
if you watch it again, Jackie Chan uses a 3-section staff in that scene. I think he takes it
Oh,
off one
one
of
of
the other
those.
guys.
I would
Yeah.
love to learn how to do one of those.
Oh,
Now I
I've got
understand.
2
Forgive
pairs of
me.
them.
Yes, I would love to learn that. I love weapons like that.
I've also got I've got 2 of those. I've got a bow and a Joe staff. I've got some practice katanas, you know, like the wooden ones, where they're a solid bit of wood, and they usually have like a little plastic hand guard that goes sort of.
You haven't, Cheswold. Really?
Yeah.
Fucking
I've got
hell! What? Like what?
3 pairs of nunchucks. I've got a set of size.
Ooh, size are cool.
I mean, basically, I've got all of the weaponry I need to kit out my own Ninja Turtles.
Can I be one?
Like, are these items souvenirs in your house, or have you undertaken any actual training or fucking tuition?
I've done martial arts since I was 8 years old.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Good on you. Which ones?
I've done a whole host of stuff. I've done a couple of types of karate. I've done a few different forms of kung fu, like North Shaolin, South Shaolin, 5 Animal style. I've done Choi Li Fat. I've done some Wing Chun. Done a bit of Muay Thai as well. One I really want to learn is Krav Maga. That looks quite interesting. But yeah, I've done quite a few different styles. I tell you what, I wish I had more money, because if I had like a load of money, like if I won the lottery, like I would have just one room in my house that would just be decked out with all sorts of different martial arts weapons.
Me too.
You know, like the ones that, for people who don't know all the names and stuff, like the ones that look like, it's kind of like a a giant spade. It almost looks like a gigantic stick with at one end the kind of sort of thing you'd take pizzas in and out of an oven if you worked in like a
Yeah, that's what I was
pizza
going to say. I
delivery
bet
place.
you're talking about a weaponized fucking pizza. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah, and then on the bottom end, it usually's got like a sort of crescent moon shape.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever played Dynasty Warriors, I'd own a lot of the weaponry that you see in Dynasty Warriors.
No, I haven't ever played Dynasty Warriors.
If you haven't, you should. It's a great game.
Like when I was a youth, I definitely went through a phase where I was fucking I loved knives, yeah, and I used to kind of amass this collection of shitty pen knives and butterfly knives and flip knives and all that sort of shit.
You know, I own a couple of knives. I own a little lock knife, which is a Bear Grylls one, made by Gerber. Very nice knife. And then I got another one, which
Gerber.
is Gerber. I think it's
Gerber.
Well,
pronounced Gerber. I think it's Gerber.
Gerber.
But,
It's
I have
Gerber,
a
man.
couple of knives.
it's Gerber. It's Gerber Foods. And they spell the name the same.
Well, I'm sure it's Gerber.
I'm sure it's pronounced Gerber.
Well, the reason I'm sure it's Gerber, but listen, this is semantics. Is I've owned several Gerber knives and Gerber tools and things like that. I've watched videos of fucking idiotic people at like expos say, "Hey man, we're at the Gerber stand and we're gonna look at the new GR52 X9 in fucking Ninja Black and all that sort of shit." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but people pronounce this thing wrong.
It's
It's
either Gerber is either the right pronunciation or it's the most common mispronunciation worldwide.
Don't forget it is German.
No, well, I appreciate that. Yeah.
It would actually be pronounced Gerber in German. So I'll agree with you on that one. But the food company is pronounced, they do typically pronounce their name Gerber.
Yeah, but like I said, well, yeah. So anyway, Gerber,
But yeah,
Gerber fucking.
I've got that, and I've got this other knife. I don't know where it is. I can't tell you. I think it's called Aninox or something like that. The company that make it. But yeah, it's kind of like a Bowie knife, and yeah, I don't own many knives. See, I started out by owning swords. Used to have this really nice Genghis Khan replica. It's quite cool. And then just from there, I just started like getting a lot of this stuff because it was around sort of the age I've been doing martial arts by then for about 8 years, and it was around about the age where I started sort of working. That I was able to then buy all of these things, and changes in the law when it came to like the sale of things like nunchucks happened around then. So I was able to get a lot of this stuff.
When I was in boarding school, right? You know those foam plastic nunchucks? Yeah?
The plastic ones, like the acrylic ones.
No, the ones
Hardened acrylic.
the plastic ones with the foam around them.
Oh, right, yeah.
When I was at boarding school, yeah, I must have been about 13. And in the school holidays, I'd fucking bought this combat magazine. And I'd seen these nunchucks in there, and I'm like, right, because I was determined to learn how to to use the nunchucks myself. And I mean, I wouldn't say I was proficient, but I was good at flailing them about in a useless manner when I was 15, 16. But what I did is, I can't remember how I had to pay. I think I had to cut the fucking coupon out and put it in an envelope with the cash. Do you know what I mean? But I got them sent to the boarding school. And every morning, what you'd have to do, the two boarding houses, after breakfast and before school, you'd be all counted, and any mail that arrived would be handed in. and then it was off to assembly or whatever the fuck it might be. And I was stood there, and I'm waiting for this parcel, and he's called out my name. I've seen this sort of brown parcel, I'm like, yes, it's my nunchucks, what a touch. And the prefect's on his way over, and he's shaking it, and he said, oh, it sounds like Smarties, Johnson. And I was like, yeah, it's fucking Smarties, mate. I was happy. But they didn't last long because I hit, I ended up hitting things with them, and the middle tube bits broke. They're quite brittle, those middle bits.
Yeah, they're not really supposed to be used for actually striking anything. They're just supposed to be used more for.
Like, when you're like full of youthful exuberance and ideas of ninjutsu greatness, you're here, left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not talk about our odd, perversions for collecting loads of shit that we don't need. It's Holly and Rose. I think Rose is back now.
You guys were going on fine. It's all right. Keep going.
Do you own any other weapons at all?
No.
Just your nunchucks?
Well, I have a couple of swords and a bat lathe and Chinese stars and
A
knives.
batleth like as in Klingons and Star Trek batleth?
Holly, is it possible that you can leave out the room and come back in? They're still complaining about buffering.
Oh, okay. Yes.
The views went down to 0 and then back up to 8 again. So there's something wrong.
I think, yeah, because she's sounding fine on this end.
Yeah, she sounds fine on this end too. They just keep saying very bad buffering.
Oh, okay. I don't
Hopefully
have
that
anything
helps.
open besides this screen. So, you want me to do it again? Refresh?
I don't know. I just hopefully that will help it. If not, you can always just turn off your camera.
Okay.
That will save bandwidth. Okay.
I can
Let's
do
see.
that.
Okay, maybe do that for a little bit, and maybe that might help.
All right. Well, how about I'll refresh
Okay.
and I'll keep that on, but we'll just make sure one more time.
Okay. They're saying not my fault, not your fault, Rose. That's the net for you.
Welcome back, Holly.
Okay.
One time when you've got some time, I wouldn't mind seeing your batleth and your swords that you've got.
Okay. Yes. Absolutely. They're nothing
And
Okay.
one time when I get a chance, I'll show you some of the weapons that I've got. But right now, they're all up in the spare room in a wardrobe, so they're like a built-in sort of cupboard.
Well, mine
Rose?
are nothing special.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Rose.
Yeah.
Have you got any weaponry? Have you got any weaponry that you can show me?
No.
Rose doesn't need any weapons.
No?
She's got a mouth.
Got my mouth and my mind. My mind's my weapon. You don't want to know what I know, though. Trust me. Okay, so let's get into okay. Hey, Holly, I got a question. Have you ever went to the moon for any projects? Do you recall ever traveling to the moon or being programmed there or anything happening?
Actually, yes. I remember being in a hospital on the moon, and I don't know what happened that brought me there, except that what I recall is something happened to us kids and we were blown up. We were brought to the moon into a hospital, and it was in the shape of a swastika. I know this sounds weird. I have drawings of it, actually, of my experience on it. But I remember waking up in the hospital and walking out of my room. And when I entered the hallway, the problem with it was that when I looked to my right and to my left, I not only saw a couple human beings walking, but I also saw these alien or interdimensional beings or whatever you want to call them walking down the hallway as well. And I passed out and collapsed. Um, one of the nurses, a human lady, ran over to me and picked me up, brought me back into my room, and a few people walked in. A doctor walked in with a couple other people, and that is when they told me that I had a clone. There, nobody would miss me here on Earth because I have a clone. And then I proceeded to throw a tantrum because I told the doctor I would really like to see my commander. And he said no. And I told him yes. And we went back and forth a little bit. But I think shortly thereafter, the doctors brought my commander into the room, Commander Casbolt. They wheeled him into my room in a wheelchair. And I went over to him and kneeled before him, and he looked like a mangled mess. They did take him out of my room. The doctors told me that I would be there for a while, and I was there for a while. I
Were
remember
you,
that actually outside my hospital room when I was on the moon, there was a Coke machine actually right outside my bedroom, and
Like cocaine or Coca-Cola?
Coca-Cola. Sorry to be a big disappointment, but
cocaine dispenser?
Coca-Cola.
What, it could have had little packets with like a gram in there. You put your credits in. Get a nice little gram of Coke.
Yeah, they're not that advanced. No, sorry. That's a terrible joke. Yeah.
Now, were you hurt in any way? Do you know why you were in the hospital? Like, what was the situation?
All I know is that I was blown up with other kids. We were blown to smithereens. Something happened and we were just blown up, and then we were flown to to the moon, excuse me, into the hospital. So I don't
So,
remember the circumstances before it,
but
but pretty much,
you had visible bandages on you and wounds.
yes, yes,
Okay.
and so did Commander. His head was wrapped, his body was wrapped, he was mangled. He looked like he had stepped on a landmine,
Wow.
at least to me in that recalled memory. But that's when they told me that I had a clone and nobody would miss me on Earth. And I just thought all this stuff was normal.
So how
So
do you know that you're not a clone?
um, I asked Jesus because I was really scared that maybe I was, and that the real Holly's gone and I'm like a programmed thing that has programmed emotions and reactions, but I'm not a real being. And I asked Jesus to please be honest with me, and I believe that he was. And I'm a real girl. I know, as odd as that sounds, but honestly, like waking up from all of this, that was definitely one of the questions that I asked myself and brought before Yahweh, um, because I wanted to be saved and I didn't think I could be. And I thought
Okay.
that would maybe be one of the reasons why I would not be able to be saved, as if I was a clone.
Right. Do you think clones have souls?
No,
Okay.
I think they're just animated human body shells.
So
Um,
you wouldn't be seeking Jesus then if you were a clone, in other words.
I hope not, no. And I hope that if I was a clone, uh, Jesus would have told me sooner, but I don't think I'm a clone now. I think I'm the actual Holly, to be honest.
Okay.
I pray. Oh boy, I pray I am.
We all pray.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. You have a lot of support and in the chat. They say they love you. Love you, Holly. This is Gallon. Gallon Grounds.
I love
Love
you,
you, Holly.
Galen. Sorry.
Galen, sorry. Holly for sticking your neck out for the truth. I know Holly is. Wait. Richard is saying I love her. Love you. And Galen is saying, and that's why I stand up for Rocco and David Morrow too. Nice. Well, you got a lot of support in here.
Well, I
So
love everybody that's in your chat. Thank you so much.
yeah, there's some nice people in there. Love you guys. Now you said when you first woke up in the hospital on the moon base, you saw an entity. Can you describe that entity or being?
Well, I recognize little gray aliens right off the bat. I think there was one there, but I'll be honest, I really don't know how to explain them. There were tall, thin ones, and then there were big, wide ones, and every time I looked at them, I had the same terrorized feeling inside. So I don't know how to explain them. I'm
You
sorry.
didn't get a good feeling. You're discernment.
Yeah, I didn't get a good feeling. I don't know how to explain them now. I mean, like if I woke up and I was in a demonic attack and I saw a demon, I wouldn't really know how to explain that right now, except to say it's either a spirit or it's something that's in a physical body. And the things on the moon are in physical bodies walking around and talking normal. I just don't know how to explain them.
That's fine.
Okay.
So you said you were on the moon hospital for a while though. So if you had to guess, how long do you think you were there for?
Like 3 months.
Oh,
Like a few months.
Was the facilities like a hospital, like a typical hospital room, or would you say it was more advanced technology, or?
Well, I would say it reminded me of a hospital room, but I just had a bed. I don't really remember what happened too much besides when I first walked out of my room, I passed out. But during the course of the time that I was up there, I started to feel at ease with the other entities walking around in their physical form. I just didn't look too much at them. I would look out the windows. But I don't really remember too much as far as their technology up there.
All right, so that's interesting. You don't remember a TV, a telephone, or any other like little small details in the room you could
Oh,
describe?
no. I don't remember a television or TV. I remember having a bed. I remember feeling at home and recovering, but I don't remember having like amenities like that, to be honest.
Right. So it's basically you're there just to get better, and that's it, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I think I remember sitting in my bed a lot, but anytime I've ever been in the hospital in this normal life and I've been sitting in my bed, I was usually writing or drawing pictures in a pad. So I could have been up there doing the same thing, just drawing pictures and writing. But I don't remember, anything besides just being in my bed and getting better to go home.
Wow. That's deep. Now, before we end, I want to go over because we talked about rituals, but we didn't really get too deep into it. Being in New Jersey, a lot of these super soldiers, you hear them being from New Jersey, in that area, like the Montauk Boys. A lot
Yes.
of them over in that area. Do you recall the Montauk base as a child?
Um,
How long were you in
uh,
Canada? Sorry, how long were you in Canada when you were a child?
um, I'll be honest, I'm not quite, I'm not quite sure. In Canada, I would have to say like a few years, because my grandparents brought me up there. I was like 4, 5, and 6, or wait, 4, 5, and 6. We were up there 3 different times. One of the times we were up there over Easter, and I remember this specifically because I got an Easter basket from my grandparents at home, an Easter basket from my biological mother, for
Hmm.
the first one from her, and then I got an Easter basket up in Nelson, Canada. So we were up there 3 years in a row.
Okay. And you've been,
Montauk,
yeah,
I
you've been in
believe.
New Jersey. How long you been in New Jersey?
I've lived in New Jersey my whole life, to be honest with you, except for when my mother took me for 3 months to San Antonio, Texas, when I was 3 years old. And even
Right.
then, my grandparents flew down there to bring me back to Jersey. But I've always lived in Jersey my whole life.
No, okay. So you want to get into a little bit more deeper into Montauk because they did a lot of rituals. You know, they were doing a lot of astral travel and time, t-
Yeah.
messing with time dimensions. And do you want to talk about what you recall with that?
Um, well, what? Oh, forgive me. Um, what? Well, uh, my friend Rocco went up to Montauk, and he was shooting a video around uh, Camp Hero. And when he was shooting the video, it started to remind me of these recalled memories, which at first I thought were just dreams. But while I was watching his video, I'm remembering these recalled memories I have, and they're starting to match each other. And after I finished watching Rocco's video, I went to sleep. And the next morning, I woke up and I talked to Jesus, and I'm like, I think I was at this Camp Hero because the fences, the roads, and then there's buildings, and they all match what I remember. But in my recalled memory, there were other kids with me, and I don't know if we were trying to escape or planning our escape. But I could have sworn we were trying to climb over those fences to get out. But I remember us kids being outside and looking around, and I could hear their voices still in my head, but I can't make out what we were saying. But I believe I was up at Montauk, and there were other kids with me.
You're trying to escape.
I think we were, yes. I think we were trying to get out. We were trying to escape.
Was
Yes.
it at night or during the day?
Day,
At night.
the day. Because all my memories are during the
Yeah,
day of it.
yeah, because being inside those bunkers, I would imagine it would be hard to know whether it was day or night. A night inside.
Well, for me and my recalled memories when we were outside and I thought we were trying to escape, it was all day. So it was all day when I looked around versus like, Nelson, Canada, when I remember it at night.
Hmm.
So,
Right. Now, did you ever do time jumps or astral travel while you were there? And I also heard there was like entities just walking around that were in control of a lot of these programs. Do you recall any of that?
I'll be honest, I don't. Um, I'm just glad that I remember the outside of Camp Hero. Like, um, glad I remember that much. I don't remember what happened inside. I do believe that I did have a time travel experience, but I'm not certain. But I do believe that time travel is possible. So,
Oh, absolutely. They were doing that back with the Philadelphia experiment when they moved the ship from one port to another port that was 500 miles away.
yep,
Um, so they were already testing time travel then. They were doing it way before that, but that's it. They were already moving people. They want to move a actual, something that heavy, and huge with the crew on board.
yes,
So anyone's interested in that, it's called the Philadelphia experiment. Survivors from that, Al Brebrick and all them, those guys. But
yep,
you gotta remember, they're under heavy mind control. So you have to use your discernment when you watch those videos with their interviews, and
yes.
yeah.
Um, I do believe all that's possible, but I've only been awake for almost 2 years now, so I hope that going forward, more memories come back to me because I am after total recall. So we'll see what happens going forward. Wait, don't mute, don't go anywhere.
Sorry about that, Holly.
No, 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 I'm teasing, Rose. You're fine. Forgive me. Like there are times that I can completely ramble, and other times where I guess I need to be prodded a little. Forgive me.
No, that's fine. I totally get that. No, but you don't remember doing any kind of time travel or interdimensional type work?
I don't remember doing it, but there was a point in time where an event came in my life where I feel like I actually had already time traveled there. Um, Not been there before, not seen it before in my dreams, but actually time traveled there. About 2 years ago, I had left to go get pizza, or I had left to go get Chinese food, and along the way, I got lost to get Chinese food. And this was right before I fell to pieces, signing myself into the mental ward after I woke up from MK Ultra. This was slightly before all of that. This was after, during the time that I was finding, um, Aaron Green Hicks and James Casball and Aaron McCollum. I was finding their testimonies on the computer. And so just before I had officially fallen to pieces, I went to go get Chinese food and I got lost along the way. So I ended up turning into a pizza place. And when I turned into the parking lot, I looked at the pizza place and it had a red heart in Christmas lights in the window. When I looked across the street to my left hand side, I saw a shed out in the darkness. Beyond the shed was just a field of woods, but on the shed was a little red dot that was made by Christmas lights. So as I'm sitting in the parking lot, I'm like, oh boy, I've been here before. Some blonde headed guy is going to come in. I'm going to follow him out to the shed and he's going to stab me to death. And, and when we go out to the shed, this guy is going to be nice to me. We're going to have a pizza in our hand. He's going to wine and dine me. And then he's going to say, Holly, I know that you've turned to Jesus. I'll write your name in the book. And when he goes to take out a pen, that's when he's going to stab me in this shed across the street from the pizza place. He's going to walk out and nobody's going to find me until next spring.
Was the shed abnormally put there? Like, did it look like it didn't belong, or was like it was a shed connected to a house, or what kind of shed was this? Like maybe a time machine that was a shed, or
I really honestly don't know. But when I'll be honest, Rose, I don't know. I'm still trying to make heads or tails of it. But so I'm sitting in the car and I'm recalling all of this stuff. So I'm like, oh boy, I have to go out. I missed it. I have to go into this pizza place because I've already lost myself on the way to go get Chinese food. So I walked in the pizza place. I order my pizza, and then all of a sudden I hear somebody walk in, and my brain starts to, for lack of better words, flip. I run into the bathroom, and I'm going through my head again that I've been here before. Not in a dream, but I've literally been here before. I've lived this life. I don't know who just walked in behind me, but until I hear the bell above the door go off again, I'm not leaving the bathroom. So I'm sitting in the bathroom waiting. And meanwhile, Jesus is telling me, Holly, walk straight. Walk straight. So I'm sitting in the bathroom talking to my creator and savior. And finally, I hear that nobody's in the pizza place. So I come out of the ladies' room. I go get my pizza. And as I turn around, I keep reminding myself that no matter who walks in this place, I'm not going to talk to them. I'm not going to look at them. And if I have to, I will drop the pizza and run out to my car. I'm not going to talk to a blonde-headed man or anyone. So I walk straight out the pizza place, straight to my car, get in my car, and I pull away. I could have sworn that I had lived my life the first time and been there before, and I was stabbed to death. But this second time being there, I wasn't. I thought that was a time travel event. I thought something had been changed because the people that came into the pizza place were different this second time than they were the first time that I had lived the event. But I was still very much scared to even look at them, if any of this makes sense.
no, it does make sense. I've had a similar situation where I was in a really uh, life or death situation, and I had a being come into me and got me out of that situation. Obviously, because I'm here, so it makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad, Rose. Thank you so much. Like, thank you
You're
for
welcome.
allowing me to relate to you. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, thank you. So, yeah. Is there anything else you want to cover tonight?
Um,
Like any of the rituals? Like, did you ever see demons or, anything in that nature? Doing
well,
any of the rituals?
as far as rituals, I'm not sure. I don't remember too many of them, but I do very much see demons. And like you had mentioned last night, like shadow people or the Hat Man. You um, things that crawl along your floor or things that try to hide in dark crevices. I see demons all the time, and I believe that's why I hang on to Jesus. But no, I see demons constantly, and I can't turn that off. Like even that's the one thing. That's the one spiritual gift I can't turn off. I'll be honest. Is that I see demons a lot, and some people will ask me what I see, and I don't always feel comfortable because I'm looking straight at demons, and I don't really know how to explain that to others. And it's not that they have them, but I'll see them coming out of a house or out of the corner of a place. I've seen them come out of outlets. Um, just I see them all the time. So it's not that, I am around someone that's demonically possessed or has a demon hanging on them. It's just that I see them all the time. All the time.
Well,
I pray to see good angels. Sorry.
yeah. Well, you're gonna have watchers that are watching you and report back what they're seeing you doing and so forth. So
Yeah. I think that's exactly what they do.
yeah, they're little snitches. That's what they are.
Oh, oh, they are. Um, I don't like them very much, but yeah, I feel them around me a lot. So,
Well,
and
you're protected though. So as long as you pray to Jesus Christ and you have faith in the Lord, they can't touch you. They can
I
they
agree.
they can stand around and watch all they want. They ain't gonna do nothing. They're not gonna do anything.
Yep. They
Well,
can run up on me and they still can't touch me because I'm covered in the blood of the Lamb.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So let me check the chat room. I'm gonna be wrapping
Okay.
this up soon. I gotta
Okay.
have dinner. I've not ate. I'm starving.
Oh no, Rose. I didn't mean to keep you from dinner. I apologize.
My dinner's not here yet. So no, you haven't kept me. No worry.
Okay. Well, where's
Yeah,
your dinner? Darn
on
it.
its
Oh, what
way.
do you eat? Okay. I'm just teasing.
Yeah. Galen is asking, did they have healing beds or healing chambers back then on the moon?
I don't know, but that kind of sounds familiar. I don't know, Galen. I don't know. It sounds familiar because, I remember being blown up. I remember being in army bunkers and being poisoned and gassed to death. Well, poisoned and gassed. I remember being in other situations where I'm shot. However, if you look at my body today, I don't have any of those marks. I understand I have clones, and sometimes clones' memories can bleed on to the original person's memory. But
Well, they can also take your consciousness and put it into a clone body temporarily, so you would experience what that body experienced, but it wasn't actually your body. It was it's your consciousness that remembers it. They do have that capability. So
yes,
while you're sleeping, if people are interested in this, and again, use your discernment when you watch these videos and listen to people, explaining these type of things. But his name is dang it, I can't even think of his name right now. He talks about the cloning centers. Damn it, I can't think of his name. But he had said, I'll get the name before I end this call. He was talking about how when you go to sleep, a lot of these celebrities and even the Queen Elizabeth, Obama, any of them, that they all have these cloned bodies in the cloning center, and that when they go to sleep, they don't really go to sleep. Their subconscious goes into the clone. So their body's in bed, but their consciousness is now in the cloning center. And that they'll fight each other, kill each other, stab each other, they have sex with each other, they do whatever they want to do. And then when the daytime is coming up, like say in the morning, their consciousness goes back into their body and they go about their day.
yes, I would
And then a
agree with
lot,
that.
yeah, that they do not really sleep or have dreams, that they go to the cloning center. I mean, they can go to sleep, but usually they're pulled into these cloning centers. And anybody who's interested in that, again, I'll give you his name, but use your discernment. I know what he's talking about is true, but I'm not going to vouch for the person who's saying it. But what he is saying is true. But I'm not going to vouch for him in particular. You know what I mean? I don't know the guy, so I don't know where he's getting this information from, or I don't know. but these places are real. So I mean, Holly, you could have been in a cloned body, and
Yes.
it was your consciousness, and
I
that's how you were able to be stabbed and killed, and so forth.
I completely agree with you. And thank you for saying that, because I'm sure with you saying that, that will help me. Um, I think about these things a lot, and oh boy, I don't know where to go with them all the time. So thank you, Rose. But I do agree with you. There were times as a 13 and 14 and 15-year-old, I was forced to live with my biological mother and her new family that has disowned me. And in her home, portals would open in my bedroom, and my body would stay in bed, but I would walk through them, and I'd be somewhere else. I would also go to school, and I would remember sitting in my classroom at school in junior high in William Annan and going into a trance and then not being there, or I'd be in social studies class, and then 3 hours later, I would rejoin my body, and I'd be in arts class, and it would be the end of the day. And my teachers called up my biological mother at that time and said, Holly's bio mom, since you took her out of her grandmother's custody, you know that she's falling into these trances, and when we call her in the classroom, she won't answer to her name. So my biological mother took me to some quack psychoanalysis that she didn't even have her license in the state of New Jersey or the state of New York. But my biological mother took me to this psychoanalysis, said Holly's having these problems at school. Her teacher is calling me and saying that she's falling into trances while she's in school and nobody can reach her. This psychoanalysis, I would tell her about my dreams. And I honestly can tell you that as a 13 and 14-year-old, still to this day, I don't remember what really happened at those sessions. I remember sitting down and beginning to talk to her, but she would smoke cigarettes, and then partially through the sessions, I just don't remember what we discussed anymore. I don't even remember my biological mother picking me up from those counseling sessions. But I just know that anytime I had to sleep next to my biological mother, from the time that she took me out of there were times that she would get mad and use me against my grandparents. So every time she took me out of my grandparents' care, whether it was as a teenager or when I was 3 years old down to San Antonio, anytime that I was around her, I believe I have a screen memory. When I would have to sleep next to her, I have this screen memory of just following other kids dressed in white into a cave, deep into a tunnel. Someone would stop me at the beginning and say, "No, you have to wait here," and the kids would keep marching on. But then I would have to stay at the beginning of the tunnel. And this was a dream I would always have, sleeping next to my biological mother. I mean, even to this day, I'll have the same dream. And when I have this dream, I end up, and if her and I were not dysfunctional and I was not disowned, because when I came forward with my testimony, she still does not want to hear it.
So
But if
what
she
was
did
her
want to hear
initial?
it, she would tell you that I kick her in the ribs. When I have to sleep next to her, I kick her and I kick her and I kick her, and I don't stop kicking her. Still to this day. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Toaster. I almost cut you off.
So what was her initial reaction when you started? When you spoke to her about it, what did she say to you?
Well, what she did was she had my half sister call me find out my address, and then she had the cops come and pay me a visit. And the cops basically said, well, we're sorry about your mom. Pay no mind to her. And it sounds like you're doing fine, Holly. Just stay away from her. But see, my problem is once in a blue moon, I feel bad. I don't have a mother in my life, and I go crying to the wrong people. But my mother went into complete denial. Complete denial. What she tells me is that if I mention her name or if I call her, she will get a restraining order on me, and I'm harassing her. But
What? I don't understand what you were doing that she thought required. Like, why? What was the reason she phoned the police? Like, what? You know, what? Why did the police must have said, "Oh, we're here because we got a call about X," or you know what I mean? What was that?
I called up my mother and I told her about my super soldier testimony. I told her about Black Ops. I told her about the fact that I have dreams come true. I told her that I am scared that her soul's going to rot in hell because of what Yahweh shows me. I'm scared that she sold her soul to Satan because that's what I see in the spirit world.
So she
And
basically called the police to do like a psychiatric check or something, like a welfare check.
yes, but the thing is every time she did that, the police always said, Holly, you're doing fine. Don't worry about her.
She
And
did it
didn't pay
several
any mind
times.
to her.
She did it
Sorry.
several times, did she?
In December 2014, January, and February 2015, when I first went to the mental ward, yeah, I was reaching out to my biological mother constantly, and she denied me. Then I tried to reach out to her a couple times after that, but it was always hard to talk to her. But I was trying to reach out to her because I wanted to reconcile our relationship, and because I don't want the writing to be on the wall for her, so to speak.
But as far as she's concerned, what have you done that's so wrong? Like, has she
You know what,
voiced what it is?
Toaster? She might say that what I did was so wrong was that I stole her pain pills, but she stole my checkbook. That's about it, Toaster. Back and forth,
No,
he said, she said
what I meant
stuff.
was,
Really, you know what, Toaster? I don't know. I raised my half sister. I cleaned her house. I gave her my pills when she ran out. I gave her money when my grandparents told me not to. You know what, Toaster? I really don't know what I did so wrong to that woman. But all I know is that I'm 42 years old, trying to look for acceptance to a woman who is responsible for allowing the Illuminati to turn me into a super soldier, because she never protected me, and she certainly did not tell me about Jesus Christ of Nazareth, and that is her fault. Sorry.
and so now, if you were to approach her and just said, "Oh, Mum, can we meet up for a fucking cup of tea?" She wouldn't
She's
meet
going to
you.
call the cops and take me to court.
For
She's
what?
going to call the cops and say, Holly's threatening me. Go arrest her because she wants to
Threatening.
reconcile. I kid you not.
Right.
That's her. She's a pain pill. She's a fentanyl patch. We're not talking to a woman. I keep trying to reach out to this woman because she doesn't need to live life like that, but she's a pain pill. And I don't know why I keep looking for acceptance from a woman that allowed her boyfriend David to hit on me, why I should care so much about this woman. I mean, she dropped
Because
me
it's
on
your mum.
everybody. I'm sorry.
Because it's your mum, and that's how it works. You know, we great. children tend to, love their mothers sort of pretty much unconditionally.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. And
I
you
just
don't need
have
to make any,
to.
there's no, you don't need to justify or make any excuses for that. It's not, that's perfectly natural. It's not something that you need to feel like you shouldn't be doing. And some
Well,
would say that there ought to be some kind of maternal instinct which kept her interested, even if you'd had like a rocky relationship. So,
well, I used to
yeah.
have money, and that's why she was interested. But now, since I don't, well, I don't have anything to offer her. I'll be honest, I don't have anything, so why would she want anything to do with me?
Yeah, but that might be a bit self-deprecating as well, and maybe you're not, maybe you've kind of bought into the idea of your own lack of value. Does that make any sense?
Yes, yes, yeah, it does. I agree with you, Sam. I didn't mean to sound so angry towards her, but I would like to say my dad, Philip Baglio, and my grandparents on both sides of my family, my dad's and my mother's side, were great to me. It's just that they're all dead now, and I guess I was hoping to reconcile with my mom, and I'm sorry to sound so angry over it.
I don't think you've got nothing to apologise for. Rose.
Yeah, I'm here.
Is your pizza there?
It's Chinese food.
Oh, it's Chinese.
Rose, if you're eating, we have to let you go for dinner.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. Um, Thank you so much. I mean, we've been doing this for about 2.5 hours now, so time went by
Oh
fast.
boy, I didn't realize, and I'm sorry to keep you from your dinner, Rose.
Not keeping me. I want to get this information out there, and I think it's crucial. So no apologies. No, thank you for coming on. Do you want to give everybody your contact information if they want to? How can they reach you on Facebook or
I'm on
they?
Facebook and Google Plus and YouTube and Scene.life under Holly Baglio, and reach out to me there, I guess, please.
So they can find you under your name.
Yes, under my name.
Okay, so that's Holly Holly Baglio Baglio.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And there's a guy, his name is Richard. He's in the chat room. He says he has a friend that's a congressman that he can maybe get to help you with getting your
Thank you,
information
Professor
released.
Richard. I thank you, Professor Riss. I appreciate it. Thank you. We'll talk offline.
All right, cool. Oh, and it's Donald Marshall. Yeah, thank you.